I like video because one, it builds know, like, and trust with you as the face of the software or your team. Basically, I mean, I know I've seen Chase's face, I don't know how many times, going through all the stuff, and it's like I feel like when I meet him in Dallas, it'll be like, oh hey, I've seen you 100 times.
Yeah.
He's never seen me, but I know him. Same thing with Sean. Every time Sean comes out, hey, Sean coming at you, like
Yeah.
having the video there builds a connection with the software. And it also makes it really easy, rather than explaining someone, hey, go up here and click, a quick screen recording of go here and click, and I can actually see where it is in a little highlighted mouse. It makes things, it eliminates a lot of ambiguity.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to our HighLevel podcast. We call it the Spotlight Sessions, where myself and Chase, we identify top players in our community, bring them to the spotlight in a sense, and share their story and a little bit of a background and also how they scaled to hundreds of clients. I have Dom Bavaro here. Dom comes from the automotive space, from what I understand, and he built a really cool business model and everything built on SaaS as well. Dom, first of all, thank you for saying yes. I'm excited to see you pretty soon here if you are coming to the conference for our...
I am.
Okay, awesome to get your gold award win. But either way, Dom, thanks for jumping in on a podcast with us, man. What a journey.
No, thanks for having me, Paulson. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. I want to say I've been on this whole SaaS thing just about 18 months in round numbers.
So tell us your story. What were you doing before SaaS?
Okay, so how long before? So right before SaaS, or like the very, very start of my whole business entrepreneurial sales journey? I guess we'll go all the way to the back, right?
Yeah, I mean, give us a good 1 minute rundown of the full story.
Oh, all right. So 1 minute rundown, start the clock. So basically my background here, pre all online entrepreneurship, all entrepreneurship in general, I was in the car business, the retail automotive business. I started as a salesperson, worked into the finance office, and then I started running the internet department, front to back. So basically from internet lead to person comes on the floor and buys a car. And I had retail automotive experience for about eight years in the business before I decided to start my entrepreneurial journey, because nobody would promote me to the sales desk. I kind of hit like almost a glass ceiling. Yeah, nobody wanted to get, and I hated having someone who was going to say, yes, you're ready to move to the next level. I didn't want to have that I didn't want to get permission. So I saw an opportunity to rent cars to Uber drivers on the internet and then make quote unquote passive income, because, as the car is out, they pay for it. I will soon learn that it was not passive at all. But being in the car business, I kind of knew if I bought them right and I put a pencil to it, I could probably make money with it. So I bought my first couple cars. They stayed rented immediately. And I scaled up my old car rental business up to, I think it was 17 cars at the top when I had the most amount of cars.
Wow.
But that business model had a lot of flaws. One, I was at the mercy of a platform. I was at the mercy of the app that I was renting the cars on. And then insurance premiums were stupid. And then they had high deductibles. People banged up the cars. They walked away. And it was a lot of out of pocket, a lot of aggravation. I do not recommend it. I mean, I got calls from the Philadelphia Police Department because cars were being used and commit crimes. It was just quite an adventure. I learned a lot about entrepreneurship, but it's not the most profitable. I actually got out of that business January of 2020.
Wow.
It crashed and burned the end of 2019. I was able to get out by 2020, and turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because that's when COVID hit. And kind of around the same period I was doing the car rental business, I saw some YouTube ads about making money online and, affiliate marketing, and seems kind of cool to me. It was, you make stuff online, because I was actually referring Uber drivers with a referral code, and I was making money that way. And I was like, I wonder if I could just refer people to other things. Nice. It's really, really hard to do when you're first starting out and you're not creating content, number one. But car business crashes January of 2020. March of 2020, I hop on TikTok with the rest of the world, start creating video content, partially because I had bills to pay and I needed to make money. And I said, you know what? Blogging's not working. YouTube's not working. Facebook organic's not working. Hey, everyone's jumping on this thing called TikTok.
Might as well.
Why not? And everything got thousands of views back then. So I just started creating TikToks every other day, teaching people what I had learned in the car business about sales, about marketing, about the internet department of the car dealership. And I started learning about funnels and started referring people to all kinds of different funnel software, and kind of gained a following through that. At this point of this recording, I'm at 139. I might be at across 140,000 people over on TikTok. And right about June 2022, I actually saw Dom Baptist.
Oh yeah.
I came across him on TikTok. He was talking about the course and high level and SaaS and agency. And I'm like, let me go check this out. So I did. Said that. And one of my other now business partners, we were friend, other TikToker, he was doing the same thing. He's like, you got to check out HighLevel. I was like, all right, fine. I'll jump on HighLevel. Let's see what it is. And I'll admit, when I first got in, the learning curve was steep. It was hard.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I was so comfortable with another software. And I was like, I'm just, you know what? I understand how it works. I see validity in it, but like, I'm too deep into this other software. The pain of disconnect was too high. But then they made a big mistake. And I was like, I have to move. So I started moving everything over onto HighLevel. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet and go through. I'm really glad that I did. So now I really started leaning into the SaaS model. And again, as a content creator, as somebody who has a following, people, you know, as you're an authority, people go, what do you recommend for this? And I'm like, oh, you go use my software.
Yeah.
I use my software. I mean, we branded it Lead Vortex because we wanted to make it like, you know, it captures leads and everything kind of disappears into a vortex. So we're like, that's kind of how we branded our thing. And we just started getting customers. People were coming in, and rather than referring them to another software, I was basically taking them as my own customer. Had to figure out customer service issues because that's the kind of why SaaS isn't as easy as affiliate marketing. But again, it's definitely worth it. But yeah, so we started going through there, and then it really picked up steam, and we started actually embedding our SaaS in products and courses.
Nice.
So not so much, here's the software that I sell. It goes, here's why you need a funnel. Here's why you need a website. Here's why you need email marketing. And you create the question, and it's like, well, what software do I use to do all that? Oh, hey,
we'll take care of that. Yeah.
I happen to have one. So that's how we started grabbing a lot of stuff through kind of real high level, my story, how I got into SaaS.
Got it. I love it because everyone has a story, and it's really interesting to me how people find their path through HighLevel. And usually people come across this big Y intersection of like, oh, do I do affiliate stuff or do I do SaaS stuff? And either way, you're going to win because the product sells itself. It has a lot of great benefits that cater to the small business owners or marketers in general, however you want to go about it. But for us to have this podcast in a little bit more structured way, Dom, what are the 3 things that we can talk about when it comes to things that you've learned from the SaaS experience? 3 things that at the end of this session, we can be like, you know what? We cannot omit these 3 things when it comes to building a SaaS company.
All right, let's talk about customer service.
Okay, so one is
training, onboarding.
So customer service and onboarding. Okay.
That's number 1. Number 2 is how to create the desire for your software. So you're not just shouting out and you're just not just another software.
Okay. I love that because that's one big missing piece. And I think maybe some of your sales background is allowing you to figure that out easily.
Yeah.
And what would be the 3rd thing when it comes to launching the SaaS?
When it comes to launching SaaS, something I didn't do, but I wish I did, was to create a lot of buzz and controversy around me before I launched the thing. Because I did it with other products. I didn't do it with SaaS, and I'd probably be 5 times the size if I had used my old strategy.
Okay. So for those of you that are staying and watching the podcast, the 3 things that we're going to talk about is the customer service and onboarding behind the SaaS model. Number 2 is what was that?
Oh, number 2 was creating the question of why, creating the desire for your
desire,
product,
the market,
your product.
Desire. Yes, the market desire for your software solution. And 3 is building the content machine around the person behind the software. So yes. I love these 3 topics. And I think this matter a lot for anybody that's brand new in the SaaS game, or even if you had thousands of clients, it doesn't matter. I think you're going to learn a lot from this. So by the way, the reason why I asked Dom to jump in is because he's winning the SaaS Gold Award here shortly at our conference. So for someone to contribute from doing the work, we love that because it's easy to talk about it on a 30-minute podcast, but the amount of work that went behind building this pathway is enormous. So I think it's going to be really good. So let's talk about it. What is it about customer service and onboarding people get wrong?
Onboarding customer service, there's not a lot of, you have to go really heavy into video tutorials. Like there's a lot. I mean, HighLevel is a very robust software. However, robustness brings complexity.
Correct.
So there's a lot of, so me being in the TikTok social media influencer world, the very popular softwares like those link trees or link in bios, where it's just a single page with 27 links, really easy to use, doesn't make any money, doesn't make any sales. However, you've got something like HighLevel, which is more robust. It's animations. Some people will see it as bloat and they'll see it as, I don't need all this and I'm not going to learn this. And I can just go up and put 30 links on a page. So the customer support journey, the customer journey and the onboarding, having that dialed in, especially that doesn't require any involvement from you, is the key to scaling. Like we're at, I think 230 users at the moment. And if we were manually onboarding every single one, we'd never be able to scale.
Forget it. Yeah. And us too, right? We're at like almost 50,000 users. If we had decided to onboard everybody on a Zoom call, we probably won't be able to scale either. So you do have to have a self-navigating onboarding system. And you said video tutorials matter a lot. What is it about video that you feel like is the best solution for onboarding?
I like video because one, it builds know, like, and trust with you as the face of the software or your team. Basically, I mean, I know I've seen Chase's face, I don't know how many times, going through all the stuff, and it's like I feel like when I meet him in Dallas, it'll be like, oh hey, I've seen you 100 times.
Yeah,
he's never seen me, but I know him. Same thing with Sean. Every time Sean comes out, hey Sean, coming at you. Like,
yeah,
having the video there builds a connection with the software. And it also makes it really easy, rather than explaining someone, hey, go up here and click, a quick screen recording of go here and click, and I can actually see where it is in a little highlighted mouse. It makes it eliminates a lot of ambiguity.
yeah. You know what's crazy, Tom? There are not a lot of software companies out there that puts faces in the onboarding process, humanized experiences, right? Like you said, Chase. Sean used to do these sessions. I think Robin has like one of those videos in there. I know I have a few in the courses and things like that. But having a face attached to the thing that you bought makes a big difference. And this is why software companies that use personal branding usually take off really quickly, even though they can't sustain it long term, but they have a good lift.
Yes. So there's actually something Alex Hormozy does really, really well. He talks about it. And he's like, you start with your personal brand. It's like, but obviously, like you said, you can't sustain a personal brand so far. So what you do is you bring somebody on, and then it's you and the person you brought on, edify the person there. And then eventually you kind of fade away. And now the person there is left, and you're basically just transferring your authority that's there.
Yeah.
But it does start with you as the face.
Yes.
So you can go on and build other parts of the business and leave the other person behind and go, here, this is the thing I built. Now you're trained on it. Now you can handle it.
Yeah. So for all my tech wizards that are watching this podcast, they have a question for you, Tom.
Okay.
What kind of videos are you talking about? What are those around features, or is it more contextual videos around how the features benefit them? Like, what is it, navigation? Like, what kind of videos do you recommend when it comes to video tutorials for customer onboarding?
So I think it's a mix. There definitely needs to be a lot of screen sharing, right? How to use the feature, how to set up the thing, but people aren't willing to embrace the suck and kind of go through the discomfort of setting it up if they don't know why. So onboarding courses, and like what I do is I actually built a course on a website that basically I left side linked it inside of HighLevel on one of those custom links. You click on that, and it comes to a big course website. This is what we're going to be doing. And the first like 2 or 3 are just what we're going to be doing, what you're going to have at the end, and how all the pieces are going to fit together.
It's
so
like
that way when they're, what?
It's like an agenda.
Yes. So that way when they're in there going, oh, how do I go in and set up the email automation and click here and then tag that? Why do I have to name this? Why do I have to use a custom value? But if they know why they're doing all that stuff, they're willing to go through more of the discomfort on their own without just, oh, this is too much, I'm just going to go back.
Got it. And
so
you're
a lot of, go ahead.
They're self-navigating through this. Once they, is that how you did it the whole time and from the beginning? Like, or was that a refined process, or?
I've gotten better at it over time, but it's always been self-navigated.
Wow.
I'm a huge introvert. I mean, I don't like talking to people one-on-one. It's not really like
I can't tell.
It's hard. So I'm like, and again, I've always had the thought of, I want to have something that's going to scale. Right. And me coming from the affiliate world, starting in the high ticket affiliate world, there's people who were like, let's hop on a Zoom, let's hop on a call. And I'm like, you're doing 3, 4, 5 calls a day. Like you're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
So if you want to scale, you got to learn how to automate that, record. And because also, again, being my sales background is people are not unique. I don't care. Everyone's different, but no one's unique. They're all going to have the same 6 questions. So if you can those same 6 answers, here you go. That's going to eliminate 99% of your customer service tickets.
I love it. So the second thing that we want to talk about when it comes to launching your SaaS is creating the desire in the market for your solution of combination. Like internally, I tease a lot of our developers sometimes, and I say, HighLevel is like a Lego land. We have the ability to create a bunch of different types of shapes and forms and colors, but it just depends on the creativity of the person for you to really see the full utilization of the platform. But imagine you creating your own solution. How do you create that kind of a demand out there in the market for your Lego pieces?
So it's funny that you use Legoland, because I always use, I don't know how people are into cars, but like the old Civic community, where like you can modify a Honda Civic 1,000 million ways and no two are exactly alike. I'm like, that's what HighLevel is. And they build them like Legos where you can just endlessly modify them. But yeah, so basically what I try to do is I try to create a snapshot for a specific avatar. And then I'm going to go. So basically I go in, I say, look, this is what this avatar needs. Let me build a snapshot around it. This is what they're going to need. And then go in and then not talk about, oh, hey, real estate agents, I built the snapshot software for you. It's like, oh, hey, real estate agents, here's how you're going to get 20 more listings. And here's how you're going to manage your people better. Here's how whatever benefit. And that's going to be my messaging.
Yeah. What is a snapshot for those that might be watching this podcast and that don't even have a HighLevel account? And there's a good amount of that.
Okay. So a snapshot basically is just it's a pre-configured group of websites, funnels, and automations that you put together, and then the customer just kind of brings their own brand and brings their own information. And there's a lot of the heavy lifting. It's kind of pre-done for them.
Yeah. I call it like a blueprint or a skeleton in how you can fulfill a client. And once you create that skeleton, you don't have to recreate it. And anytime you bring in a similar type of client, you can just turn on that snapshot into their account and just onboard them with their branding, similar to what Dom is saying. So creating that demand, creating that desirability in the market. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. So once you have your snapshot designed, okay, let's use a simple real estate example. Okay. I'm coming up with this cold, so I might be a lot of ums here. But let's say that we'll have an opt-in page, thank you page, and then you'll follow up to book a call. So there's going to be a calendar. There's going to be a sequence of automated reminders for that. And then whether or not they get the listing, there's going to be, I imagine when real estate people get a listing, there's going to be a number of things that they need from their client. That process is the same for every single person. So what you can do is you, as the HighLeveler, you can go in and you can pre-program that. Make a skeleton of an opt-in page, make a skeleton of a thank you page, make a calendar, make an automated reminder, and then make this is what I need to get the listing live. Automation, forms, surveys, build all that in HighLevel. Then hop on social media, hop on the content machine, and then start talking about, I have a way to streamline and get more listings as a real estate agent. And that's the messaging. And then you send someone either to a 5-day challenge, or you send them over to a webinar where you explain, not the software, you explain the process. Goes, what you're going to do here is you hop on social media, or you're going to go and drive ads to this kind of page to capture people, to get them onto a call with you where you get the listing. And then afterwards, you can use an automated process to get everything from your person to get that listing live. And during the whole presentation, you're like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. But I don't know how to do that. Or like, I don't have, how's he doing that? Like, you're creating questions in the person's mind, and that's all they're focusing on. They're focusing on like, yeah, I know this is great, but how does he do this automatically? And then when you go to make the ask and make the sale, you go, oh, by the way, I've built all this for you. All you have to do is put your name and logo and headshot and bring all your stuff. And it's $97 a month. And I'm like, so wait, so one sale can pay for this multiple years? I'm in. And then you got to try it. And then you basically remove the risk and say, oh, start it for 13 days or 14 days or 30 days, whatever you want to put your trial. And it's a no-brainer. There's almost no resistance, and they're going to start a trial. And then it's on you to deliver and get that onboarding right so they stick. But if you basically are just, again, create the question of like, how is he doing that? And then you just tell them, oh, I do it with the software. It's pre-done.
Yeah, it's making total sense, Dom, how you got to well over 250 plus clients. Because here's what we know internally. The software launches and marketing agencies that focus on education-based sales have a much easier time onboarding.
Mhm.
Right? We know that for a fact. So if your
Okay.
content is around the technology solutions in providing context, they probably can do a self-navigated onboarding like Dom is doing. But let's do the opposite. Let's say you don't provide a lot of context, but you're just selling like the result and the, not showing the process. When you get to onboarding, guess what you would have to do? You would have to resell what you sold them and re-educate them. So your onboarding becomes very laborious and heavy, and you'll have a lot of dropped traffic in that step. I recommend the education-based sales because we know that works. Even if you threw out a 5-day challenge, like we ourselves launched a 5-day challenge program inside HighLevel to just help marketers jump into the platform. And a couple of thousand people are going through it every single month now. And
Mhm.
really what we're doing is stabilizing them and helping them get their first paying customer with SaaS. But we
Awesome.
know it has complemented our onboarding. We
Yes.
didn't even mean for that to happen, but they are way in a good way. The onboarding that the 5-day challengers go through are a lot more stable versus the standard processes where they have to kind of figure things out without context. So creating that desirability, it's making sense because you're creating the FOMO out there while you're sharing the process of how you're creating those solutions.
Yep. The solution gets the person's attention, but then the process of going, that gets them hooked. Okay. Now I see it's not just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. So,
That's what gets them in there.
Dom, can you talk about the last thing I want to make sure we address here is creating that content machine, right? You talked a little bit about that, and that was the third pillar in what you felt like everybody needs to do to launch and scale SaaS properly. First of all, tell us what you feel like you missed out on by not launching it, because I know you mentioned that. And then let's talk about what the ideal content strategy looks like.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't think I missed out. I missed out on a lot of people, a lot of users really quickly. Although, given that we've gone through probably 4 or 5 iterations of onboarding, it might be a blessing in disguise that we didn't launch what I'm about to outline here. Because doing this with 1,000 users versus doing this with 200 users is, I mean, 200's a lot to manage. So once we get it dialed in, you'll probably see something from me that is probably going to generate some buzz. But basically, I've launched 3 info products this way. And the first one did $1 million in 100 days. The second one was way smaller. It did like $50,000 in the first month. And then the third info product we launched did $130,000 on launch weekend. So this works, but it's not for everybody. Having said that, I start this campaign of launching by slaughtering the sacred cow. So take your number one person in your marketplace, take the person who is probably going to be your biggest competitor, find a flaw and shine a flashlight right on that flaw, and then call them out. Right? Everybody in the marketplace is going to go, oh, I can't. They're like, record's going to scratch, party's going to stop, and everyone's going to look at you. And all of a sudden, then they're going to start looking at the other competitor, and then people are going to start to take sides. Yes. There's going to be people who are like, oh, look at this guy trying to bash. And then they're going to start talking about you. This guy's bashing the number one competitor. He can't do it. He has to tear people down to build himself up. But then what's going to happen is that there's going to be people who agree with you and who have agreed with you for a long time, but have been too afraid to say something. You go and say it. They're going to be like, that's my guy. That's the person I'm going to hook up with. And they become a ride or die customer. So what's going to happen? It's going to cause polarity if you just go in and call out a flaw. Now, I'm not saying call out a person or call out someone's appearance, but call it a flaw in a business model or a company, something you don't like. And then say that you are going to fix that specific thing. It's going to basically, it's going to polarize the market. You're going to have people who are really excited about you. But what's going to happen is the people who also hate you, especially if you do it on a platform like TikTok where you can do stitches, I get stitched and people just start talking crap about me all the time, but to their own audience. So what happens is other people some people have huge followings. They start talking to Stitch me. I get them so riled up that they all of a sudden put me in front of their audience of hundreds of thousands of people. And there's people who have no idea who I am. So they're going to click through and look at me and they're like, oh yeah, I see, I was right. And then all of a sudden I start bringing people into my market and building that pressure from people who are hating on me. So I'm bringing haters are basically talking about me to their audience. And I do this for like a month.
Wow.
Right. So people start talking, when's this thing starting? When's it launching? When's this? And then what I'll do is I'll bring a beta on. Okay. I'm not going to release it to everybody. I'll release it to a small select group of people and I make them audition. So what happens is people audition, again, post a public video, tag me, tell me why you should be in part of my beta. Then what happens is all these people are putting me again in front of their audiences. Because they're tagging me and stitching me and saying, this is why I want to be a part of Dom's thing. And people in their audience are like, who the hell's Dom? Let me go check him out.
Wait, hold on one second. Let me clarify this. So what you're doing is, in the world of psychology and marketing, we call it disruptive marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you're doing is disrupting the leader of the market by pointing out flaws, whatever. And then eventually you do that for about a month, and then you launch a beta group of people. But instead of just launching with any random beta group, what you're doing is forcing them to be active by creating content for what you're launching and why you should allow them in. It's almost like a public application.
Yes. Wow. Yes.
Okay.
So now there's a lot of people talking about you.
Okay. Continue. I'm digesting.
Now here's the last iteration that I'm going to do this now, because this is the one. The beta is paid and it's higher than the public price. Right? Depends how much you have. Let's say at least 50%, almost 200% higher than, right? Let's say you're going to launch at $1,000 product, make your beta $1,500 or $2,000. They get 8 weeks of you teaching them informally the thing.
Oh, so you're counting in your hours as if it's almost a consultative approach.
Yes, this is if I've done this with courses. I don't know how I would do it with SaaS, but I mean, SaaS, I'm just embedding the snapshot into the info product.
Got it.
So what I would do is I would go 2,000, double the price, take your beta. Cause then these are the people who want to do this. They want to do it because they like what you say, not because the price is right. So they're willing to pay a little bit more, but tell them, look, you're going to pay more. This is what the public price is going to be, but you're going to get me informally live teaching you the thing. You're going to help me pressure test this thing and help me find all the snags. And that way, when they launch 8 weeks later, it's been tested and we know where all of the snags are. So we know what the customer service tickets are going to look like when they come in. So
Dom, here's what I'm foreseeing. You're creating your affiliate team out the gate.
Yes. Yes. Your betas become your affiliates. So now what I've also done by doubling the price of the beta, when I go to the challenge of the webinar, how many times have we sat on a webinar where it goes, this is $38,000 in value? And I'm like, name me one person who's paid 38 grand for what you're about to sell. However, when I tell people we've sold this for $2,000, here's all the Stripe transactions people have paid for it, I'm going to give it to you for $997. That's a much more effective price anchor on the presentation.
I like that. So this is genius. You're being very generous, giving away your sacred cow strategy is what I'm going to call it.
Most people are going to be afraid to do it, though.
That's
the thing. Most people are afraid to do it.
That is a fact, but there will be a few that understand the power behind it. What are some things you've learned from launching this, and what do you feel like you might have missed out, or like what do you feel like the ideal scenario should look like going back, just evaluating what you've done so far? Like, what would you change about it?
What I've done so far. So I probably would have launched my SaaS standalone.
Okay.
Because what we did here was we launched back in November of 2022. We launched an info product around content creators. And then we just launched a course. There was no SaaS component. So then what we did was we saw a lot of people were content creators, and we saw the need, like, well, content creators need to collect leads from social media because brand deals are drying up. So we're like, oh, this is perfect for HighLevel.
Yeah.
So then we started embedding it into the course, but after it was launched. So we were, people who had paid us $1,000 were like, hey, you can add this on over here. And then people coming in it was already embedded in the offer.
Got it.
So it was, but now it's, I maybe might launch it standalone. But again, launching the SaaS by itself, I don't think we're not dialed in enough to handle that much influx of people. Because when you create that much buzz and you create that much pressure, you're going to have to onboard, let's say 100, 200 people on the same day.
Oh man. Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. But I like what you said is the pressure testing, right? The concept of pressure testing, I think it's a never-ending thing that you always will do. Like, eventually you'll get to a world you're testing 1,000 people in one day. Like it just, these numbers will just get bigger and bigger and processes will improve. But this is really cool, Dom. Now it's all making sense why you're gonna walk on the stage and grab a plaque for accomplishing these things. But I like the strategy. Anything else you want to share when it comes to launching SaaS properly before we close out?
Launching SaaS properly, I would say, number one, don't make it about the software, because people don't get attached to software. Make it about your brand, right? What you guys stand for. And then also make it about the education, which I would do a lot of, is because then people are like, oh, this is why I need it. And I like that person. I'm going to support that person. I know that they're going to, like, the software just becomes a byproduct versus, oh, I can get you a 0.2% lift on your opt-in. Like, okay, there's 17 other people that can do that. But if you make a movement and identify that this is my people and this is the strategy, the software just kind of becomes, oh, I just kind of need that anyway. I might as well buy it.
I love that. Dom, I appreciate you jumping in on a podcast here with us. And I know thousands of people are going to watch this. And this has been one of my favorite episodes because
thank you. I'm sure you say that to everyone now.
I really don't, actually. This is probably the first time I've said that, because
thank you.
We gave away some practical application, not just theory. And at the same time, I feel like we made it fun to just, see somebody's journey, just kind of go through it and accomplish what they want to accomplish. Dom, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. I think it's in 2 weeks now. So close.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's funny, actually, we have 5 more minutes. I misread the SaaS website, or the Level Up website. So copy on, I'm going to say, I don't know who was in copy of the Level Up website. I'm coming in actually a day and a half early, because I said, the way it read was, what was it? The 22nd, I think, is the first, no, 23rd is the first day.
Yeah. Monday.
Yeah. And it says VIP's a day early. So I'm like, oh, VIP day's on Sunday. So I fly in Saturday night.
Oh man, you got to.
And then all of a sudden the website goes, oh, VIP days on Monday. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. So now I'm in Dallas for Sunday. So if anyone's there, if you want to hang out, high levelers.
Our entire team will be there on Sunday. So I'm sure we'll interact and things like that.
Yeah.
But Dom, I appreciate you, man. It was really cool seeing your journey kind of take off, and I got a chance to track you down and do a podcast and share a lot of different things. Any final words? Do you have a link where people can follow some of your content or anything else that they're doing, especially fellow high levelers that you may want to plug in?
Yeah. If you want to just on all socials, it's just Dom Bavaro, DOMBAVARO. Just search me. It's all my socials, all the handle. It's all personal branded. And if you ever want to go hack our website, it's tryleadvortex.com.
Okay.
That's awesome. What we're doing with SaaS.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate you. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.
See ya.